Hello everyone, I'm Al Gata up here in wonderful Lexington, Kentucky, and behind me is my conversion vehicle. I'm still doing auto body work on it, and in the evenings I do the electrical work, and I'd like to show you what I've done to the intelligent amp hour meter that Jack has used on his show for doing the bottom balancing. What I'm going to show you is how I've implemented the DC to DC converter attached to the back of the meter along with a cable strain relief. So here we go. One of the first things I discovered about that intelligent amp hour meter is that you can take the outer case off. There's two little snaps, one on each side, and if you push them in, the inside of the meter slides right out of the case. Now here, I've done that, and I discovered that under the solid center section, it's hollow. There's nothing there. So I drilled two holes, and you can see in one of them I have a screw and a nut, and I'm going to put a screw and a nut on the other side, and I'm going to slip that piece of aluminum down over it. This aluminum is going to serve two purposes. First, it becomes the heat sink for the isolation module or the DC to DC converter. And secondly, on the left hand side, it provides a spot for me to put a cable tie or a cable clamp or something, so that when the cable gets tugged, you don't put the strain on the wires going to the screws. Here's a top view of it. You can see the pins of the DC to DC converter. I attached the DC to DC converter to the aluminum with JB Weld. And the reason I chose that epoxy is because it has a high metal content, and I thought it would transfer the heat better. Also, I took rough sandpaper and I sanded the bottom side of the DC to DC converter, and I roughed up the aluminum also. This is to get a good mechanical bond and give the JB Weld something to grab onto. And in the next picture, you can see I've just used a couple of cable ties on the left-hand side to anchor down the test cable, but this would normally be a cable with eight or so conductors. And on the right-hand side, you can see I have permanently soldered in the wires supplying power to the meter. And here is a picture of the meter itself. It is measuring its unregulated input voltage. The next picture here is the dashboard of my conversion vehicle, and it's obvious the meters that we just looked at are going to go in the left and right hand opening on the dashboard. But Jack has always said that it's better to be lucky than smart, and that's the case here. You will note with awe and wonder how the meter fits in there. Just a snap fit and it's in. I couldn't believe it when I actually got to try to do this. The opening on the right hand side is also going to have an intelligent amp hour meter. I'm going to use one of them for the charging environment and the other one for the driving environment. And in the center is going to go a 4.5 inch GPS based speedometer / odometer from Speed Hut. They have a fine selection with all kind of internal options. Well, that's it for now, and I hope to see you at EVCON 2012.